Hi, my name is Tawanda and welcome to my channel. In this video, I'm going to explain what Typeform is and how you can start making use of it. So Typeform is an application that helps you build forms online that you can make use of in your organization or in your personal projects. So where do these forms work? So you have what we call a form builder, which helps you to build a form. So you can create a survey where you're trying to make research or trying to find feedback about a certain product or a service that you're providing. You can also make quizzes. Say you're a teacher, you want to send quizzes to your students or to your friends, or you want to create a test for training purposes or to assess how people are doing, or maybe you want to create a form to use in your organization, whether you are in marketing, HR, customer relationships, or just general business forms. But right now we want to talk about how you can start to make use of Typeform quickly. So we're just going to do like a small tutorial where we talk about the important functions, not everything, but the important functions you need to know so that you can set up the right kind of form. So right now, I'm just going to make a use of an example. Let's say someone is an organization which is trying to onboard like a client, and this client might or might not need to buy things from them on credit. So as we create this form, we're just going to use different elements within Typeform. Let's just talk about some of the things a bit. This is the landing page that you come to when you like register for Typeform. The most important things that you just need to know here are the workspace. You can create several workspaces and you can name them. These help you to categorize places where you can put your forms. Say you are the owner of an organization, you can put HR forms, marketing forms, other kinds of forms in different workspaces so that you don't then confuse them. What we are mainly concerned about is the build of the form. So whenever we create a form, it's going to appear on this space. So right now we're just going to click where it says create form. Now, in this space, you have an option to use artificial intelligence to handle how to create a form. You just put in information and then it creates kind of a form quickly for you. Then you try to sort it out so that it works exactly how you want. But that's the easier way of doing things. It might not be as accurate as you need it to be. So what we do, we make use of start from scratch so that you know everything about setting up forms. So let's just click that start from scratch. So we have to name our form. So let's just name it something like client intake form. Rather, I named it client information form. So this kind of form that we want to do is not a research survey. Let's make it a registration form and continue. So we are now within the builder of the form. So let's look at the most important things that you need to know about. This point, this to your left side, is where you will see all the questions that you have created. If you click on it, this is what you will see at the center. So we are clicking on number 1 and we are seeing the question. Here is where you design the question, where you do like how it looks like, the colors and things like that. And also the logic is how all the questions interact with each other. And here are additional settings. Let's say you have finished setting up your questions. You click publish. You should never forget to click publish because it then updates the information into the real form. Say you have done everything that you wanted to do and you want a preview. You simply click preview and it will show you all the questions and how it's working. So right now when we start, we are where it's named create, is the create tab. As we go, we need to go to where it says connect, share results. We're going to talk about that. Right now, we're just going to jump in and then start. So the most important thing you need to know is there are different types of questions. In this case, this is a multiple choice question. As we can see under the question, it says multiple choice. The starter one that we usually want to make use of is more like an introductory screen, like a welcome screen. So what we're going to do is to click here and we are going to get different types of questions. We scroll down and we do what we call a welcome screen. I'm just going to put information on the welcome screen just now. So we type here. So as you can see, I've written customer information. Please fill in the information for us to create an account for you. So this organization is asking the client to fill in the information. It's just like a blank form. You obviously need to design it and add more things. What things can we add on this form? If you come to your extreme right, under this, we can add a video or an image. I've already uploaded my logo there. So I'm just going to go to the gallery. So as you can see, it has already uploaded the what? The logo there. But I just don't want it to come out like this. I want it probably on the right side. So what I'm going to do is then scroll down to where it says layout there. The mobile layout, first of all, let me just do the desktop layout. The desktop layout there, I want it on the right, exactly, so that it comes out on the right and it's actually bigger. We can deal with the mobile layout by simply clicking this tab at the bottom, and we then play around with the layout there. For example, we can do that, we can do that. I think the best way right now is leave it like that. What I want to focus on is the desktop layout at the moment. So that's how the form looks like. But as you can see, it's more of plain. So we want to add a design to it, maybe the coloring and things like that. So there are what we call design kits, where you actually design the colors, how how this information comes out, the fonts and things like that. So I'm just going to do like a simple design, just pick out from existing ones. So we come where it says designs. I'm going to go to the gallery and pick an already existing one. There you go. I've clicked this one. I know it looks kind of dull, but like that's how you deal with this information. You can actually create a brand kit if you want. In this, we're just going to talk about how to do it simply, right? We go back to the questions. We are done with how this looks like. Now go back to the main question, which is the first question. We want to ask information about the person. Let's make use of what we call a contact type of question. So we can say here, uh, please fill in your details. But we have a multiple choice kind of question. What we need is to collect contact information. So if we change to contact information here, what you'll notice is going to give you several options there that you can make use of. First name, last name, phone number, email, and company. So that's quite important. So as you can see, there are more settings which have just appeared. You can hide the field so that the company is not seen. You can let it be visible. You can also make these required so that when someone is making use of this form, they have to fill in everything before they go to the next one. The layout is also important. We can play out with the layout of how this picture looks like. You see, originally, it would have looked something like this. Let's choose to say like that. Let's delete this picture. So when it's plain, it looks like this. But say you want to add pictures just to add maybe a flair to it. You simply click add image or video at the bottom there. I'm just going to use images that are existing. We click that one. You see it comes out on the top. You go back to layout. We're just emphasizing the importance of the layout. You can put it on your right there and it looks great. So someone can fill in this information. What about the address? There's also a good um, system that they've put where there is actually an address question there. So we click this plus sign to add a question. We go through what we have and we click address. Now the address takes everything, the address, the second address, city, region, and things like that. This is particularly important if you're making use of CRMs or any other software that requires you to capture the address in the proper form, so that when you're transferring your information, it's sent directly into the right lines in that software. But right at the moment, we're not talking about integrations. So you can make sure that some of these are required. The same theme is being applied to all of the questions that we have. Now we are just going to add a few more questions so that we can make use of what we call logic. So right now, I'm just going to create a few questions. For example, we obviously wanted the person to tell us if they require credit. So I've added the question, do you require credit? And yes and no answers as the multiple choice. You can add more choices by doing that, typing on them, or deleting that. So right now we just need two of those. So you notice at the side, you need to make sure that you put the right settings. In this case, we do not want multiple selections because someone can choose yes and no, both of them. No, we simply want one answer from that. But if you have a question where you want someone to get multiple selections, you can make use of those, or put an exact number of the selections that you want. In this case, we only want one selection, so we leave it like that. We're also going to create another question. You might want to say there's a maximum and a minimum kind of limit. So let's do that. Let's put a maximum number and a minimum number that's required. So in this case, let's say your minimum limit you can give a person is 500, and the maximum you can give is 10,000 to your client. So you can just put that in your description. So the kind of answer the person is going to put is a number there. Or obviously, people might need additional information. Let's demonstrate that by putting maybe an upload. So we add another question and say, so please upload a 3 months bank statement. As you can see, we've created another question there. We're done with all the questions that we want to deal with. The next thing that we need to do is to put an ending to that. Usually, we might want to say thank you or things like that. So we create what we call an ending. So others might require to put a certain message at the end, or others might require a URL link that sends someone to your website after they've clicked the submit button. So what you do is you come here where it's called ending. There's already an ending that's available there. So I just want to show you how to create one. Click the plus sign. You choose either to redirect them to a website or something, or click an ending. And on the ending, you can put information. Thank you for submitting this information. That's how it is. So you can even remove this button. Remember, the settings give you additional information, or additional things like you can remove the button or the share icons or things like that. So once you are done with this, you have finished the question section and the design section. But there is more to it. You might want certain questions to behave in a certain way. We make use of what we call logic. So we come here where we have what we call logic. Click where it says logic. What we want to do mainly is to deal with adding rules. So for example, if a person does not require credit, they will not answer question number 4 and 5. So what do? We just click where it says plus here on question 3, do you require credit? We pull it to the ending so that it skips question 4 and 5, which asks for additional information. So what we are saying is if question number 3 gives you the answer no, it's going to jump question number 4 and 5 and take us to the ending. If the answer is yes, then we would have to answer question 4 and 5. Once you do this, you've finished setting up your logic. If you want to add more logic, it depends with the type of questions that you're dealing with. If there are quiz and scoring, you can do calculations and things like that. There's additional setting up that you need to do using that gear icon at the end, which I have clicked. They are what we call follow-ups. So follow-ups are simply notifications. Say you want to notify someone that they have finished submitting their information. You know, whenever you finished a survey, usually you get an email which tells you that you finished the survey. So you click on follow-ups, then you actually create the follow-up. Now, you can name the follow-up to say notification. You have to set up a trigger. What will trigger this follow-up? An ending. Which ending? Thank you for submitting this information. Then we click save. What is the action that you need to happen after the trigger is then been initiated? You then click the action that has to be done. which is a send an email to respondents. The email that we're going to send is going to be from the email that we collected, and the reply to email can be put in here as well. Once you say that, or you do that, you say continue. You can also tailor make the message, the subject line, and even the message to say hello, and then you put the person's name using the variables you've collected and add additional information here, and then click save. So this means every time when someone finishes with your form, they receive an email from you. That's the use of follow-ups. So once you do that, you then click back, and it's actually active. If you want to go back and change information there, you can do that. That's how we set up notifications in Typeform. So while using the forms, while answering the question, someone might encounter a challenge, and that's where the messages come in. So just below the follow-ups, we have what we call messages. But these have already been set up for you, but you can customize them. For example, you remember we created a minimum and maximum figure for the credit limit. If an error occurs, what happens? So we can just scroll down and try and look for example, here we have error messages. If a number exceeds the min and max limits, it says please enter a number between this and that. So you can change the error that comes out by changing these messages. So there are so many of these messages, but I usually say just leave them as they are, unless you don't like how it's coming out, then you can actually change some of these messages so that they are tailor-made to what you want. Always make sure that after you set up the desktop version, you come back and you start setting up the mobile. You can do it at the same time. Why is it important to set up the mobile version? Because someone, when they're using their phone, it comes out differently. Sometimes it's not like properly centered. So you actually need to make changes to that information so that it comes out well. For example, in this case, in this second question, you might want to change the layout of that mobile depending on how it's coming out, but that looks better on the mobile layout there. This actually looks better. It's less distracting than this version. So you'd rather change it to that so that it looks better. So you need to make sure that on each question you have set it up so that it comes out well when someone is using a mobile phone for that function. So generally under the create function here, that's what you need to set up for a functional form. We've touched on many aspects, but what I encourage you to do is then to go through and play around with more information so that you can find out other ways you can set up this form so that it then matches what you need. So always remember to click publish there so that all the changes that you have made in your form then appear in the active form that you have. So the next part that is important is then to the connect function here, which is next to the create tab. The connect function is all about integration. It helps you to then expand the capabilities of the type form that you're making use of. So let's just make an example of how to do an integration. It's very simple. They've made it so simple. So let's just say connect here. I'm just going to use a simple integration so that we can just show how else we can make use of this information. Say I want to collect all the information that I get from my type form into a Google Sheets form. I click that. I'm logging into my account. I make use of existing information that I have. I need to actually put the spreadsheet link here. So I go to my spreadsheet that I have, take the link, then I then paste it there, then connect to spreadsheet, and then I say activate integration. So as you can see there, it's now active. Information will then be sent to my Google Sheet. So how do I know what kind of information is put in my Google Sheet? It takes all the lines that we have, where it says view your spreadsheet is where you click, and it will then show you all the information that has been collected, all of it, as it is shown in the questions that we have. So it's more like you're creating your own database of all the information that has been submitted. So this is not the only way you can make use of Typeform, but it just depends with the integration you want to make. So there are so many of these integrations that you can make use of. Just choose one and find out how then you can add the functionality or add automation to your Typeform. So obviously you'd want to share the link. You can do it in several ways. You click where it says share there. You see, we can share first by sharing a link. If you take this link, copy it, paste it in your browser like that, you will notice that the form will then come through and you can actually click start. Looks exactly as we designed, and we start filling on the information and clicking OK and moving forward. That's how you share it the first way. The second way you can do that is to embed it in an email. So as you can see in the inline mode, that's where you actually embed, like send an email from Typeform, which goes to someone in the, and actually use Typeform from that end. In this case, I have a list of supported questions, unsupported questions that I have, which will not come out on the inline mode. But if you use the right questions that are supported, then you can actually send an email from this section. Typeform, I'm sure they're working on it to make sure that people can make use of all the questions within an email. You can also embed your form on a web page. So embeds are very easy to use. What you can simply do is to get the code from here. Once you get that code where you say copy, you then go to your, say, WordPress or whichever CMS you're making use of. You go to the HTML element within that place, and then you can embed. So we can actually test that right now. For example, let me go to a WordPress web page. After copying that code, I've gone to where I create a page. So what I'm going to do is to name the page intake form, customer form. This is within my WordPress. What we're going to do is to add what we call a block, and that block we're going to search an HTML block. It's called custom HTML. What you then do there is then paste that data there. Once you do that, you then publish that information. So back to our share page, the last page that you might just need to look at is the results page. So under the results page is where you get the information that has been submitted. It can be summarized, the number of responses and things that you need. The plan that I'm using does not support the insights, but you can actually see the responses, the summary, and the insights from this section. So all the results that you require or any submissions that have been made will come out from the insights, summary, and responses. So generally, this is how you set up Typeform. And from what we've discussed, you can quickly jump in and start making use of Typeform. You can, when you play around with the information, don't worry, you won't break anything. You can always reset things. Just start to make use of it now, and it will make wonders for you. It will make life easier for you and save you a lot of time. So for you to access Typeform, I have put a link in the description below so that you can make use of that link. Typeform gives you a free trial, which has 10 responses. It supports 10 responses per month, but you can play around and use it before you can actually pay, so that you see how it works. Try it out and you see that this is a good software that you need in your organization or to use personally in your projects.